This is news on the hour, and coming up in the bulletin, rampaging buffaloes cause havoc to cassava farms in Efija-Seche Dumasi of Ashanti. Also, the Bank of Ghana issues new guidelines for setting up of community banks. And in sports, the round of 64 matches for the MTN FA Cup commences with a titanic clash between Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak at Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Follow MTN Ghana on all social media platforms for more details. I am Bernard Avle. Farming communities in Efija-Seche Dumasi of Ashanti are counting their costs as buffaloes. Viewers, there's a breaking story we have to interrupt this bulletin for. News just coming in indicates that MTN Ghana is offering Ghanaians the chance to own shares in this company. Yes, this is news we're just getting from MTN. They're listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and that means Ghanaians from all walks of life can own a part of this company. We're crossing over to the event venue where this is happening for a live report on this developing story. Other advisors for the transaction include Mr. John Gaji. John, give us a wave. And Nana Sao. Now, there's a gentleman whose name is not on the sheet, but he's a big man. He's an accomplished banker, Mr. Albert Essien. Please welcome. Put your hands together. I don't want this to be all about introduction, so we'll pause here and bring upstage one of the men who, when you think of private sector development in this country, you can't help but think about. He's a colossus in business. MTN Ghana is privileged to have him as the board chairman. We want to welcome Mr. Ishmael Yamson to bring us opening greetings. Please show him that you appreciate his presence.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Deputy Minister of Finance and Deputy Minister of Communications, our regulators, I think from today onwards, I'll call you our partners. The big team from South Africa, including the Group CFO, the executives, directors of MTN Ghana, my colleague board members who are here, heads of the other financial institutions who are here, potential investors in MTN shares who are here, and I'm sure there are quite a number here, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited today, and especially this morning, because many, many years ago, I found myself a founding member of the Ghana Stock Exchange. And not only that, took the first multinational company to the exchange. So today is a repeat of that joy and excitement that I experienced at that time. But MTN is the first very large multinational telecom company to be floated on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And I think we are going to make a big difference to that exchange. Over the past 2 decades, this company has been described as one of the best performing companies in Ghana. And our story is that of an outstanding success that touches the length and breadth of this nation. When I go to my village, my people have MTN phones and they do MoMo, mobile money transfer on the MTN platform, right in my village. And I don't know whether you would want to know the name of the village because you probably would have never heard of it. But today is a special day. Our initial public offer is designed, as Margaret Thatcher describes it, to socialize MTN, to bring it to the very doorsteps of Ghanaians wherever they are and wherever they go. The offer will be available to them. And so we are very proud as a company. We are proud as a company because we are going to make it possible for Ghanaians to be co-partners and co-owners of this big, great company. We're also happy because somehow there seems to be some mystery about mobile phone companies who make a lot of money, but nobody knows where the money goes. Yesterday, I listened to some interesting discussion on radio. When we are on the exchange, and the CEO of the exchange is here, and the SEC direct CEO is here, the disclosures alone will make every Ghanaian become aware that after all, this company was as transparent and honest as you would expect of any decent multinational company. We are also proud because by going public, there will be greater demand on us to create even greater value. Because the only way we are going to sustain the confidence of our investors, the confidence of government, the confidence of those who collect taxes is to ensure that we create even bigger value. And that, for us, is an excitement. Because it will no longer be the group that will expect us to deliver outstanding performance, but our local shareholders would expect even more from us. And that, for us, is a great excitement. So it is not a time that somebody thinks, oh, maybe they are very apprehensive in going public. It is true that the regulator decided that before I give you a certain type of license, you should go public. But we didn't resist at all. And we didn't resist because we thought it was good for us, it was good for Ghana, it was good for the citizens of this country. But let me thank the managers of our economy. And let me also thank our regulators, especially the NCA, for having the courage to demand of the telcos that you should put some of your shares in the hands of Ghanaians. I only hope that they will see it through, that it will not only be MTN, but everybody else will do the same. But if we didn't have an economy and an environment that was enabling and attractive, this company would not have succeeded the way it has. I am not suggesting that we haven't had our own problems. And I want to see any country where business people don't have problems at all. We have had our share of problems. But overall, we have received the encouragement of the regulator, we have received the encouragement of the ministry, we have received the encouragement of government, and we have received the encouragement of the people of this country. And I thank you all for that encouragement. Finally, I would like to thank the presidency for its preparedness at all times to accommodate MTN with our requests, especially when we want to see him with our guests, and also for leading a government that is honestly creating an enabling environment for the private sector. I am very excited for the future of MTN. I'm very excited for those who would want to invest in MTN. I think you should put in your order quickly because it might not last long. I can see many people who are very, very ready to buy the shares of MTN. And I can assure you, and I can guarantee you, that your investment will be profitable, will be sustainable, and will last a very long time to come. I thank you all for joining us this morning, and I wish you well. And I must finish by saying, get your checks ready and make sure that you sign it as quickly as possible and buy MTN shares. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail Yamson. Please, another round of applause. Board Chairman of MTN Ghana. During my brief yesterday, I was strictly warned to stay away from revenue assurance issues. But the board chairman has brought the issue to the center. So I guess you've opened the floodgates. But I will not take the bait. I will stick to my script. We want to welcome as well the other Deputy Minister for Communications. Is also a Member of Parliament for La Dade Kotokpong, Vincent Soa Odote. Please acknowledge his presence. The MTN Ghana story is a beautiful and elaborate story. We can't tell it all with speeches, so we've put together this short video to give you a sense of where we've come from. Please enjoy.
There once was a time when the things we have achieved today were nothing but a distant dream. Who would have ever imagined seamless connection across the length and breadth of Ghana?
We embrace MTN's belief that everyone deserves the benefit of a modern connected life. In the last 20 years, we have reached over 17 million subscribers, transforming their lives. But we want to reach every remaining Ghanaian, regardless of how remote or thinly populated their areas are. We are therefore committed to work with all stakeholders to build commercially viable network infrastructure solutions for these areas.
I was posted here as a teacher in 2016, that's October. When we came here, the school was nice, but the environment was very terrible for us because there's no network. How to communicate to your relatives is a problem, even your friends. So they have to show us maybe a bush, you climb a tree before you can make a call. Now that we have the tower, we have access to the internet, we search and teach our kids. It is very profitable to us as we get our TLM from the net to teach them to become effective people in the community. Thank you, MTN.
Who could have ever imagined thousands of Ghanaians attaining financial freedom from the oldest to the youngest?
The introduction of mobile money by MTN in 2009 revolutionized money transfer services and payments in Ghana. With this initiative, we demonstrated our commitment to providing world-class mobile wallet services to Ghanaians across the country. Now, Ghanaians, both young and old, are able to send and receive money, pay for their airline tickets, top up airtime, pay for goods and services, and recently, they are able to pay for treasury bills, save money, and subscribe to microcredits, all using their MTN mobile money wallets.
Or who would have ever thought that one act of kindness could change the lives of hundreds of people in a community?
From SS1 till now, in my 5th year in the medical school, I've been on the MTN scholarship scheme. Things would have been very, very difficult if I had not been on the MTN scholarship. I believe that to whom much is given, much more is expected. I'll lead the change for better education in this community. Make sure that the education of children is taken more seriously. For me, I just want to say a big thank you to MTN for all they've done for me, for my family, and of course, the entire community.
For 20 years, we have helped brighten the lives of thousands of Ghanaians through our many scholarship schemes. And through the MTN Ghana Foundation, we have championed and implemented laudable initiatives in the areas of education, health, and economic empowerment, which have brought positive change in our communities and the nation as a whole.
22 years ago, you welcomed us into your homes, your lives, your businesses, and as you continue to welcome us, we grew together. And in those 22 years, we have remained true to our vision and strive to make your lives a whole lot brighter. Now, for the first time, MTN Ghana is offering its shares to Ghanaians everywhere. That means that you too can own shares in Ghana's #1 network.
Everywhere you go.
Stories of great organizations are also stories of great leadership. And MTN Ghana is privileged to be led by one of the best we have. He's the current vice president of MTN SIGA, where he oversees operations in 9 countries, namely Swaziland, Zambia, Botswana, Namibia, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, and Ghana. He's also the CEO of MTN Ghana. Help me welcome Ebenezer Chum Asante to bring us some remarks.
Good morning. I'm told the finance minister is on his way, so it's only proper that I include him in my address, even in absentia. Honorable ministers and deputy ministers, Nime, Name, Nananum, MTN board members, MTN executives, Ghana and group, CEOs of financial institutions, potential investors, staff members, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to welcome you all to the formal launch of MTN's initial public offer, and to thank you for making the time to attend this event. I also want to say a special thank you to the 2018 African Bankers Awards Finance Minister of the Year, who is on his way here, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, for accepting to be part of this special moment. He has shown keen interest in the MTN Ghana IPO since he assumed office. He wanted it to be truly transformative in deepening the capital market of Ghana, and I'm very sure we will not disappoint on that. We are grateful for his support thus far. To our sector ministry, our Honorable MP for La Dadikotopon, Deputy Minister for Communication, and our own George Anda, the man who once won the acclaim for being the man with a golden beard. Today, a regulator and also a policy maker, so he is supposed to be neutral. But we know that he has yellow blood in his veins. To our regulators, supporting authorities, and the executives, Ministry of Communication, National Communication Authority, Bank of Ghana, Ghana Investment Promotion Council, Security and Exchange Commission, Ghana Stock Exchange, you have worked with us
throughout the journey and accommodated many of our requests to ensure this will not be just another IPO in the market. Special thanks to the DG of NCA, whom I haven't seen here, but please convey my thanks to him, Mr. Joe Anoche, and the CEO of GIPC, Mr. Yofi Grant, for creating enough space for all our troubles and frequent pestering. That we are adoring a great IPO baby today signals your effort truly paid off. Ladies and gentlemen, today's launch reaffirms our commitment to Ghana, and this fills us with a sense of great optimism about the future of MTN business and about the future of all other businesses of MTN across our footprints. I have seen several phases of MTN's growth, but a single act of localization today, I believe, marks the opening of another chapter in the life of the company. As many of you are already aware, MTN is listing its shares to meet conditions agreed in 2015, when it acquired the right to use a 4G spectrum that can carry high-speed mobile data for customers. Our regulator made it a license requirement for MTN Ghana, which we complied with because we believe, just as the chairman said, the good people of Ghana deserve the privilege of owning a part of MTN, which prides itself in being the first at many things and in many spaces. Hopefully, we will make history and show the way as the first telecom on the GSC today. As we entrench our position as a leader in Ghana, we are hopeful that this transaction will have positive impact on our local market, expanding the frontiers of inclusion. Our record of strategic investments, innovation, and customer focus underlies MTN's success. Our strong relationship and connection with people and our continuous investment in our communities reinforces our belief in people. Mr. Minister, who has just joined us, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, ladies and gentlemen, starting from 1996, when Scancom made history by being the first company to introduce GSM technology in Ghana, the expansion began. Upon acquisition of the company in 2006, MTN inherited 2.5 million subscribers and quickly achieved the 10th million subscriber milestone within 5 years, with the support of people like George Anda. Today, we are over 17 million customers. I am proud to say that our company has continued to lead the way with many more firsts in Ghana. Just to recount a few, we were the first to attain national coverage for both voice and data in all 10 regions of Ghana and all districts in Ghana. First to launch 3G commercially, mobile money commercially, and first to also have Corporate Social Investment Foundation with a dedicated source of funding in this country. And the reason why we are here, the 4G network and the service, we were also the first to roll out 4G mobile services in this country and in all regions. In recent times, we affirmed our commitment to this country by investing in an ultra-modern office complex, setting a new standard for development along the Independence Avenue, as we are all witnessing. Our experience centers have not been left behind. Most of our branches have been transformed into more spacious and interactive flagship shops. A few weeks ago, in line with our digital channel strategy, we started piloting a self-service kiosk which will provide 24/7 selected services such as SIM change and airtime purchases, amongst others. When you consider the value chain of our operations, our connection with our employees and the varied number of suppliers, partners, and the people they employ, we estimate that MTN directly and indirectly is responsible for about 500,000 sustainable jobs in Ghana. MTN has made significant investments in attracting and retaining talents while developing them to enable them deliver on our strategic agenda of the business. We cherish the commitment of our people to the success of the business and have worked very hard to attain the Investor in People Global Accreditation Advanced Gold. The layers of value creation behind the business we all know as MTN Ghana are enormous. We have more than 200,000 retailers, and our mobile money service has contributed significantly to employment creation with jobs of over 100,000 merchant points across the country. And just last year, 2017, 19.6 million Ghana cedis was paid to these merchants by way of commission. In discharging our honest responsibility to the state, MTN paid a total of 1.218 billion Ghana cedis as taxes in the year 2017. Out of our profits, the MTN Ghana Foundation is also well-resourced to continue to invest in areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. If you consider the work of the MTN Ghana Foundation and the impact it is making in the lives of communities across Ghana, you will agree with me that we are truly a caring company. The recent Heroes of Change program, which was graced by the Second Lady of the Republic, Mrs. Samira Bawumia, shows how the initiative is touching lives. In the area of technology, we continue to invest in our services as we continue to work closely with our technology partners. Quite recently, we have taken connectivity agenda a notch higher. Our world-class rural solution has been recognized by the GSMA, the industry body, at the recent Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. It was adjudged Best Mobile Innovation in Emerging Markets. This solution is being rolled out in 100 communities in partnership with GIFEC to ensure that deeply unserved communities are also connected to the rest of the world in the most economical manner. We have taken a key bet on home broadband, and as a first step, we are providing total digital solutions to urban homes. To this end, our MTN Business Division has rolled out fiber to over 14,000 homes within 1 year. All these have led to significant progress in smartphone growth and penetration, which contributed in increasing our data revenues and usage. This year, we have earmarked $144 million as investments in CAPEX alone. Over the years, ladies and gentlemen, we have evolved. We have expanded our focus, our technology, relationships, and partnerships. We have grown our service reach, and perhaps what is even more important is our relevance to Ghana's development. With a robust network, 3 state-of-the-art data centers, the West African cable systems, and over 5,000 kilometers of fiber, MTN continues to deliver extensive, reliable, fast voice and data services to Ghanaians. MTN Ghana is extremely humbled of our history and accomplishments through the decades. Keeping families and friends easily connected everywhere they go, growing businesses improving financial and digital inclusion, creating jobs, and making significant contributions to government revenues, just to name a few. We are proud of the fact that through MTN Ghana, many businesses have been born. Our very existence inspires opportunities for local businesses we work with in value-added services, media, advertising, entertainment, brands, research, hospitality, music, culture, arts, sports, youth development, retail, training, community development. Whilst doing all this, we have faced a fair share of our own challenges, as hinted by the chairman. Challenges we endeavor to confront heads-on. In all this, we took in feedback and criticisms in good faith and turned most of them around, creating opportunities out of many while making sure that we meet compliance requirements and operate with integrity. When we gauge our customer aspirations and their expectations of us, there is no doubt at all that we still have huge opportunities ahead to conquer. Our confidence stems from the very MTN values and behaviors. Can do, get it done, and in this case, with integrity. If there is anything we can call a success that we are inviting you to consider during the IPO, it is our consistent commitment to our brand promise, espoused by our customers, which we are very privileged to serve. Serving them with such delicious and most innovative yet accessible digital services in collaboration with our partners, many of whom are here today. We say a special thank you to all our partners who have believed in the MTN story and its future and who have worked with us this far. Thank you very much, partners. We believe that MTN Ghana is well positioned to benefit significantly from the progressive turnaround of Ghana's economic fortunes. The country's status as the second largest, fastest growing economy in West Africa, relatively stable currency, and falling inflation and interest rates should be a boon to our industry and our business in the near term. Growth and innovation in Ghana's telecom industry, which has been ranked as the most attractive place for telecom investment by BMI, will continue to be driven by steady capital investments, sustained migration to high-speed 4G network, accelerated data growth, market consolidation, and an increase in mobile financial services such as mobile money, mobile insurance, mobile banking, mobile investments, mobile shopping, just to name a few. The recipe for our success is also anchored around our BRIGHT strategy. The strategy, in brief, is cast in the acronym BRIGHT, right. The B stands for best customer experience, R for returns and efficiency focus, I for ignite commercial performance, J, growth through data and digital, H, hearts and minds, and technology excellence for T. In driving this strategy, we are also mindful of the myriads of risks in the horizon for which we apply our best managerial efforts and minds to mitigate or contain. Pushing our BRIGHT strategy whilst managing the attendant risks, we have every belief that MTN Ghana will continue to be at the forefront of growth of our industry. We have allocated strategic resources in line with BRIGHT, and to date, MTN Ghana has invested significantly in our network, our people, our distribution, our country, and our future. For the network side, we have invested over 2.5 billion in CAPEX for the last 5 years. In our people, I touched on the investment in people, our distribution footprints, generating over 230 retail distribution across the country, and mobile money merchants, most expansive and elastic distribution footprint you can ever find in West Africa is in this very country with the lead of MTN. Our country, in terms of investments, we also pay our taxes, as I mentioned earlier on, and 3.5 billion Ghana cedis has been paid in corporate taxes over the period. And also in the last 5 years, the communication service tax we have paid totals to 661 million Ghana cedis. For the future, we have focused on data, including home broadband, digital and mobile financial services. The high growth areas of the industry has always been the priority areas that we have made a great difference. As a result of our revenues from these services, we have increased by more than fivefold since 2013. This is the business we are presenting to you to consider investing in, a business that is very well managed, a business that has clear strategy, a business that is very clear about the future it's pursuing, a business that is inclusive and ensuring that the wealth that we create is also shareable. While sustaining all these investments I touched on earlier, along with our unrelenting focus on innovation and development tailored towards our customers' needs, we at MTN ensure that we maintain our lead and maintain our positions within the telecoms industry, not only today, but in the future. This day marks the beginning of a rare and exciting opportunity for Ghanaians to invest in Ghana's best. Ghana's #1 mobile voice, with 17.8 million subscribers, representing 47.6% market share. Ghana's best in mobile data, with 12 million active subscribers, representing 56.5% market share. Ghana's best in mobile money, with 11.6 million subscribers and 93.9% market share. (93.5% market share based on very hard work since 2009. When we saw the light, others did not believe that it is possible for our customers to transact from their phone. We invested heavily behind mobile financial services. For the first 3 years, we actually ran at significant loss. So the 93% market share came out of extra hard work. Since 2013, we have built a track record of translating significant investments into strong financial performance. 18% annual revenue growth on the average. For the past 3 years, the growth has been more than 20% year on year. 39.2% average EBITDA margins. 39.3% average return on equity. 56.2% of our net profit on the average paid out as dividend to shareholders. Our excitement is therefore rooted in the fact that Ghanaians, by investing in MTN Ghana, will benefit. And our share will benefit and share our risks. We also believe that by delivering attractive financial returns, double-digit revenue, profit margins, and dividend payout of about 60% to our shareholders will be a key consideration for would-be investors to look at. So on this historic day, we move into another phase of our business, which seeks to give Ghanaians that unique opportunity to own a share of MTN. I am excited to state that the public share offer of MTN Ghana begins today, and it will end on July 31st, 2018 at 5 p.m. The entire offer is for 2 months, after which the allotment will begin. We are hoping that by September we would have the entire process ending so that the listing can begin. Interested applicants may contact our receiving banks or visit MTN branches. I am also very delighted to say that we are allowing shares to be bought through MTN Mobile Money. Another first. This time, not in West Africa, not in Ghana, but global. Our checks from GSMA confirm that this is the first time mobile money will be used to buy shares in an IPO and subsequently trade in them. This channel demonstrates another use of mobile money to accelerate financial and investment inclusion in the capital markets of Ghana. For many people, in the length and breadth of this country, they may not need to know where the Ghana Stock Exchange is located. They have the Ghana Stock Exchange on their phones, and they can invest just at the click of a button. I will leave out the rest on the IPO for the CEO of IC Securities to deliver later. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, our efforts to go public started a few years ago, as you may recall, and it is appropriate on this day that we recognize those who have done extremely well to make it possible. To the members of the board, executive committee, and all the teams within MTN who worked tirelessly, both internally and externally, to make this possible, I say Ayuko. Beyond thanking our regulators and sector ministers, as I did earlier, I cannot end without showing appreciation to the master chefs behind the IPO. It has taken them over 2 years of hard work, juggling among several masters, multiple of them in Ghana, including myself, and an equal matrix at the group level. IC Securities, Sound Capital, Benji Enchel, Lecha, and Ankoma, KPMG, and of course, with the support of our hard-working staff, Pala, Modupe, Noel, Guido, leading the chat. Thank you very much. On behalf of the board and the leadership of MTN, I would like to express our appreciation to the government and the good people of Ghana for the great support you give to MTN business. Our determination to return equal measure of transparent responsibility remains. Today, our localization has gone beyond just getting a few investors to have a share of the company. The exciting thing about this offer is that we are seeking to get as many Ghanaians as possible to invest in MTN Ghana. Distinguished guests, with this public offer and the opportunity it presents, we are inviting you beyond the everyday use of our rich services, but to consider what I call talk and share. Click and share. Momo and share. Share in our future. Share in our future returns and risks. Share in the future that MTN believes in. Share in the future that we have committed to this country on. We look into the future with brighter hope, poised to lead the delivery of a bold new digital world. May God bless MTN. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asante. We will talk and share. We will click and share. We will momo and share. Fantastic. Please put your hands together one more time. Ebenezer Chum Asante. And interestingly, while he was presenting, the finance minister quietly walked in. He mentioned your name about 5 times before you came in the first paragraph. So, and we predicted you wear a white shirt today, but you wore black. So let's acknowledge the presence of Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister of Finance, and the newly minted best finance minister in Africa. Congratulations. And while you were speaking as well, the NCA board chairman, Kweku Sechiado, slipped in quietly. So please put your hands together for Kweku Sechiado. Thank you. So if you want to know how well a company is doing, you usually ask the group level because they have a bird's eye view. And if you really, really want to know how well they are doing, you ask the guys who do the money, the finance people. So we've ticked all the boxes. We've brought the chief finance officer at the group level. MTN is making a lot of noise in Ghana. How does the group see them, and do they endorse today's program? Ralph Mupita will come and tell us. Please put your hands together for the chief finance officer of MTN Group.
I'm a little bit taller than our VP, Ebenezer. I'm not as wise as he is, so that is an interesting way of balancing things out. Thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words. Much has already been said by Ebenezer in telling the story about the group. And from my side, I just wanted firstly to acknowledge all of those dignitaries who came to grace today. Honorable Minister of Finance, thank you for coming through. Really appreciate you here. And I'd like to also add my congratulations in you being chosen Banker of the Year. I think, a continent such as ours, we need to find our own solutions to growth and prosperity. And it starts, actually with the people at the tillers of the finances. And so we really wish you all the best, and your colleagues in Parliament. Thank you very much again for gracing us with your presence. Also like to acknowledge the deputy ministers who are here in attendance. We've also got the regulators, the partners who have made this IPO very possible. The NCA, both the CEO and the chair, the GSC, the chair and the CEO, all here. GIPC, we did a lot of work with yourselves. The GRA, many of the authorities who are here. We want to thank you and acknowledge you for partnering and working with us through this whole process. Also like to acknowledge the Ambassador for South Africa who is here. Thank you, Mama, for being here with us. And I know it's important that although MTN is in 22 markets across Africa and the Middle East, our primary listing, is in South Africa, and I appreciate your presence also here. From an MTN Group point of view, today is a very important day. You don't IPO, your best child frequently. And when I say that MTN Ghana is the best child, I mean, I think some of our colleagues in Some of our colleagues in other markets, maybe maybe watching the news, may pull me aside a little bit later. But it is without a stretch of the imagination, this is a model business for the MTN Group. We're operating in 22 markets in Africa and the Middle East. We have 221 million subscribers, offering data, digital, and voice services to all these customers. And as many of us in the group travel around, there isn't a better, more model business than the Ghana business. Wow. And I don't mind being quoted on that for sure. So, so for us to participate in this IPO willingly and having gone through the securing of the 4G license in 2015, this has been a journey and a process and a day we've looked forward to. Because, as we've been operating in Ghana all these many years, we do know that, our success is intertwined with the success of the markets which we operate in. So Ghana's success as a country becomes the success of MTN Ghana, becomes the success of MTN Group. That intertwining of fortunes for us at the group level is very clear. And we, for sure, will continue to invest in this market. Ebenezer spoke about the level of investment that we put in last year or the last 5 years, $2.5 billion. As a group, we see significant opportunity in this market, and therefore, we are going to continue to invest in this market. We also, as was said a little bit earlier, that fundamental to the MTN Group, we do believe that everybody deserves the benefits of a modern connected life. For our continent, and very clearly here in a market like Ghana, it is important that we find ways to bridge the divide of poverty and inequality. And one of the greatest measures, or one of the greatest enablers of bridging that divide, as many markets are beginning to see in the way that they look at their sustainable development goals, is that technology, connectivity, is critical to bridging the divide and to try and create a much more prosperous society. Many of you would have listened to the president when he spoke at the 2018 Africa Oxford Conference, and I'm sure many would have had on your WhatsApps or using your MTN mobile phones, you'd have had an opportunity to hear him deliver probably one of the most powerful speeches by an African president or president at all. And he raised a couple of comments in his speech, principally around that, as Africa, we need to become known for prosperity and opportunities, not for poverty and despair. And I think in those words and in his broader speech, he spoke about finding ways to catalyze our own growth and drive our own futures going forward. And as we sit here in Accra, and as we sit and think about MTN Ghana, we believe from a group perspective that MTN Ghana can play its own humble role in catalyzing that growth, that prosperity, and the creation of opportunities to drive Ghana forward, to drive Africa forward, and to make sure that we become a continent, not where we are known for poverty, but we are known for opportunity and prosperity. And as you look at the delivery of mobile financial services, and beyond that, there are other services that from a connectivity point of view, we bring together. Certainly agriculture, energy, education, those things are all enabled by the connectivity and the services that we offer. So from a group perspective, we really want to again say, we are anchored and supportive of MTN Ghana. We believe that the fortunes of MTN Ghana are tied with the fortunes of Ghana as a nation, and therefore we believe that we will continue to put capital into this market and want to see the success of this market. I mean, the IPO in of itself creates an opportunity to broaden equity capital markets. Again, it's quite difficult for markets, broadly, whether they're in emerging markets or in developed markets, to prosper without strong equity and debt capital markets. So MTN coming onto the Ghanaian Stock Exchange is a path towards creating the growth and development of capital formation, and ultimately and importantly, it aids the broadening of ownership, the localization imperative that this IPO brings to the fore. we at the MTN Group saw this, principally as a localization, wanting locals to have an increasing ownership of the MTN Ghana business, and therefore, by design, we did limit the participation of foreigners to 5% of the offer of 35% that we're putting forward. And that is because we want as many Ghanaian institutions and retail investors to partake in this IPO. And for us, success, as Ebenezer said, is going to be measured by the number of participants, institutions, and more broadly, the retail investors who come in. And we've been watching the last couple of IPOs that were done on the Ghanaian Stock Exchange, ADB Bank, and Tula Oil. And when we look at those numbers, I think the highest number we've seen is about 10,000 participants. We will certainly want to see the MTN Ghana IPO, when it closes end of July, multiples of that 10,000 number, broad-based Ghanaian participation. And I think we're thankful for the SEC for allowing us to use the mobile money platform for being able to do the subscription. So we certainly will be looking for success at the end of July, principally being measured by the breadth of ownership into MTN and MTN Ghana. And as Vice President Ebenezer has said, for us to be able to spread the good performance that we see in the company, this is a stellar company, very strong service revenue growth, very strong margins, very strong cash flow generation that comes out of this business. So we're asking all Ghanaians to participate in this great enterprise and be part of the success. Finally, I'd just like to again thank all the authorities who worked with us to enable this IPO to go ahead. Really appreciate how you dealt with some of the trickier issues for us as a group. We really appreciate how you shepherded us along and got to the point where today we are launching the IPO. I'd also like to thank our advisors. We've had IC Securities, our lead broker, and we really have walked a long path with you over the last couple of years. I'd also like to thank Sal Capital, led by Nana Sal, and John Gadzi, who heads up Sentinel Global, and other advisors that we've had. Really thank you for helping us along the way. This is all Ghanaian talent that has helped MTN get where it is. And again, finally to the MTNers, the staff who work at MTN, I hope today you are very proud of a day such as this, and that you will be participating as well as shareholders, not just being staff, but also being shareholders, and exacting and demanding great performance out of this great business, which is MTN Ghana. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much. And for journalists who are looking for a headline for today, so we got about two. Ghana is best, right? Of the 22 countries, Ghana is number 1. So we have the best finance minister. MTN is the best of 22, MTN Ghana. And I'm sure our jollof is the best, right? But some people will not be happy, but that's not our business. Fantastic stuff. So I want to take another video, this time to tell you what we do in the rural parts of the country. Please enjoy.
Ansana network ni beba no na di mai obi yari serious kwa na person of frekra stay with be free ebi kura timi ko fudua
ye wa haya na youth employment akwanya ba say ye ko fill forms me nya ne ntie na me ko du ho no mo no that valid day na na closing day timi ko du ho no ma close
ye school network wo ho ti ye timi ko je school no park no so ka school fees ya de kra na ye be je nyina ho say ye call.
As a teacher, I have to go online to access some information to teach my class, but it wasn't so.
Na network phone ni my me pese obi bla me niam a just me a me foka.
The wireless telephony solution is a new innovative solution that provides 2G and 3G coverage for the rural areas.
It works by using an in-house developed backhaul solution.
It is also equipped with omnidirectional antenna that provides 360 degrees coverage in the areas rolled out.
In 2017, we entered into a collaboration with MTN. The model that we adopted was to get a more cost-effective arrangement for which we can deploy to cover the whole country.
MTN share in the vision of GIFEC, which is to provide telephony services to underserved and unserved communities.
So the collaboration has been very, very, very helpful. And we believe that if we go this trajectory up to 2019, we'll cover the entire country.
Currently, we have at least 100 communities benefiting from this solution. Later on in the year, we have planned to deploy 200, which will be solely on solar.
The benefits to these communities is that they can now have access to mobile financial services, which hitherto they didn't get, and also they can now get connected to the whole world.
Because we believe that everyone deserves the benefit of a modern connected life.
Network in the Bible, you're okay.
This year network
The network system has really helped me because my husband will send me money through MTN mobile money.
Me am work at MTN for and say that almost ene ni omo yama ye nyina so omo dwene ye.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
So coming up next, thank you, we're going to have three very key speeches. The first one will be delivered by a man I like to call the Chief Marketing Officer of Ghana, because his job is really to attract good quality investment into the country to help develop it. Ladies and gentlemen, help me receive Mr. Yofi Grant. He's the CEO of GIPC.
Very good morning to you all. Special guest of honor, award-winning and always climbing Minister of Finance, and Ofriata, Honorable Deputy Ministers, my friend George Anda, my other friend Charles Duboini, and my other friend Odote. MTN board members, Chairman Mr. Yamson, and my own GIPC chairman, Mr. Abiesi. By the way, Mr. Yamson was once chairman of GIPC too. So I think today I must be of my best behavior. The board members, MTN group executives and MTN staff and executives of the Ghana office, our press, men and women, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, my sincere appreciation for inviting me to say a few words. This very audacious, auspicious occasion. Indeed, I am even more excited about the innovation that the offer brings. This is probably the largest localization of any business in Ghana. It is indeed exciting because it actually democratizes the economy as well, giving Ghanaians the opportunity to own part of a very big player in our economy. The volume of the transaction is large. I'm told it's a listing of about $700 million of shares. Is that correct? That will make it the largest IPO on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And indeed, it assures me that there are better days ahead. As CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, I mean, even without me saying that, the question or the issue of Ghana being the most attractive investment destination on the continent is not in doubt. We have some natural assets that makes it that. We are a very peaceful democracy. We virtually assure our investors that their capital is safe. And when they make money, we take our part and then they can take the rest back home. And so to actually come and decide that you want to share that reward experience with Ghanaians is very commendable, and I say congrats to MTN. I mean, Ghana as a country, I said, we are the most attractive country on the continent, if I dare say so. We are in the center of the world. We are in the center of West Africa. And out of the back of that, the president has made some very inspiring visions that Ghana should be the best place to do business in Africa, but also to remain the most attractive place in Africa. That is on the back of the good work that the Ministry of Finance is doing, bringing about macroeconomic stability, but growth as well, and at the same time able to also facilitate some of our social interventions. And in addition to that, we are engaged in significant reforms to ensure that we do indeed become the best place to do business, but the most attractive place in West Africa and Africa, and then also reposition as a hub in West Africa. And so even as today we are witnessing a first of localization of the business, I'll also ask the executives of MTN that you make Ghana your regional headquarters. Oh, it is? Oh, then make it the African headquarters. And I'll tell you, Ghana is really attractive as a country. After an average GDP growth of somewhere around 6% for 5 years, last year we got our highest over a certain period of 8.5% growth, exceeding our own target of 7.9% growth. And as I mentioned, that was on the back of difficult but very transformational economic policies, making sure we have a stable macroeconomic environment, but also setting the economy for irreversible, sustainable growth. And so we are indeed very happy that despite the fact that we are not your largest market, you've decided to do your IPO in Ghana and localize the economy such that Ghanaians have a good part of it. Indeed, for us at GIPC, and I dare say on behalf of government, we are very appreciative. Because one of the issues that we've had is as we become more and more attractive, how do we engage our own people and build capacity in them? And I dare say that there's no better demonstration of local content than having a significant IPO where you give priority to Ghanaians. And so I say thank you for that. This is an immense opportunity also for Ghanaians to join a dynamic company that is very transformational and plays a very critical role in the economy through its many interventions. Investments, sometimes when we say investments, we only think of the money. But there are many aspects of investments that are tangible and intangible. There's investment in human capital. There's investment in technology that is transferred through foreign direct investments. There's investment in management practices and new innovations in the market. And for the IPO to take place on the phone, I must say is a major innovation, for which I'm sure that we will see some prizes come out. Last year, because of our real drive in technology, Ghana hosted the African Innovation Prize. Ghana hosted the Innovation Prize last year. We didn't have anybody in the top 5. But I believe that with such interventions, there's a lot more encouragement going to come in our innovation space to actually allow a lot more people to do really, for want of a better word, cool things, like having an IPO on your phone, being able to trade on your phone. This is a first. And it's a first for a best company also listed on the best exchange and the most attractive country on the continent. I think it's a marriage made in heaven. Government's drive to also stimulate development through an enabling business environment will create an opportunity for you to grow even bigger. Like I did say, the president's vision is that Ghana should become the best place to do business. And it wasn't a promise, it's actually a plan. And these are all little elements of that plan. Because I'm sure this IPO will demonstrate to the world that, yes, Ghana is ready as a major investment opportunity and destination. It opens out the markets to other players who want to engage in the telecom space in Ghana, which is one of the fastest growing as well. I heard the number of market share indices, and you are even almost inclined to think that you are entering a monopolistic situation. But I don't use an MTN phone, I use a Vodafone, so I know that you are not there. You're not a monopoly. And so we are encouraged. But it just shows aggression in a market that is attractive and that you can actually do things in this market. And so we will showcase you as one of those good examples of FDI that has contributed to the growth of the economy, but also embraced local content in a very structured, interesting way. And we are happy to share your risks as well. It's not just the rewards, as you said. MTN has set a pace by going public, and we would encourage other multinationals and FDI players in the market to look the same. At the GIPC, our intention is always to encourage participation and linkages for mutual rewards with foreign direct investment. We want Ghanaians to participate in your global supply chains, because that's also another way to embrace them and embrace the local content law. And so we would encourage you that not just should you allow Ghanaians to own shares, but get them engaged in your business. I will once again say another big congratulations, because on the back of many of the things that a lot of the players in the telecom business are doing, we are seeing a lot of Ghanaian innovation. We are seeing new businesses created. We are seeing innovative ideas come across. And every day I'm more and more encouraged that Ghana is the place to be. I will end by saying that this is a great time to be in Ghana, to be a Ghanaian. And I keep saying that Ghana is neither first world nor third world. We are a new world of opportunity, we are a new world of optimism, and we are a new world of results. I can firmly say that whenever you go outside and you mention Ghana, people's ears get cocked and want to find out, what are you saying about Ghana? Because they recognize that this is a country on the go. And at the GIPC, we all say Ghana on the go. We are happy to be even identified with this IPO. Yes, we worked hard to get certain things out of the way, but we're encouraged that it's going to facilitate transformation in a very broad way. I can only say thank you for giving the opportunity for all of us to earn or share in your risk and your rewards, and also democratizing your business and spreading it nationwide and global. I think many others will look at your example and come to Ghana, but I will always showcase you as a good foreign direct investor who has participated and contributed to the national growth. And I'll urge all of you to buy the shares and be part of that story, so that you can also brag when you go home that I own shares in the company that's the first in that, it has 93% shares here, and does that. Don't think you're a hardworking person. Or at least a smart one. So I will end by saying congratulations. I think for the stock exchange, this is also a big move, much bigger than we all are recognizing. The stock exchange, the Ghana Stock Exchange, was the best performing stock exchange globally last year with a 52% return in real terms. And even as we speak, year to date, returns of 23%. Very attractive. And you make my work easier, because I can always quote some of these things. It's why Ghana will remain the most attractive place in West Africa and Africa. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Yofi Grant. So the next of the three speeches will be delivered by a man who excelled quite spectacularly in the telco industry. So as Eben was saying, I'm not too sure if his blood is yellow though, because his blood started out as yellow. He worked with a brand which was red, and then green. And I guess because of the red, gold, green, he qualified to serve as a minister in the sector because now his blood is red, gold, green. He's working for Ghana. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Deputy Minister for Communications and MP for Ewutu Senya West, Honorable George Nenyi Anda, to bring us his speech.
Minister of Finance, colleague deputy ministers, NCA board chairman, CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Nime Name Nananum, South Africa's ambassador to Ghana, MTN Group CFO, and team from South Africa, MTN board chairman and members of the board, MTN CEO and vice president and other group executives present, MTN staff, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, hello and good afternoon. So even I still have a bit of yellow in my voice. First, let me thank you for the invitation extended to His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and Honorable Minister of Communications, and also to apologize for their inability to join you on this auspicious occasion due to exigencies of work. This notwithstanding, they have both directed that I convey their very best wishes to you today. I also wish to recognize the presence of the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, adjudged 2018 Best African Finance Minister. And since this is an investment issue, I certainly believe that he is the best person to support you launch this IPO. This shows how we are using telecommunications and ICT to create prosperity for the people of Ghana. I'm personally happy to join you in the launch. It really feels like being back home. And let me take this opportunity to commend the management of MTN for believing in Ghana and taking this laudable step to get enlisted onto the Ghana Stock Exchange. In 2006, the International Telecommunications Union and its membership took a decisive action for countries to migrate from analog TV to digital terrestrial TV, with a view to freeing spectrum for utilization by the telecoms ICT industry in order to offer better and efficient services to our citizens. Mr. Chairman, additionally, the growth in data usage globally for services provided online requires adequate spectrum with lower capex for deployment to reach majority of the citizens with such services and at affordable prices. In view of this exponential growth in data, there's the need for faster internet and to also request you to take full advantage of the value-added services offered by the 4G LTE spectrum license. In 2015, after wider consultation with industry players, government decided to offload 2 blocks of spectrum in the 800 megahertz band, of which MTN successfully acquired 1 to provide the citizens with faster internet connectivity for businesses and individuals to compete globally. As part of the 4G LTE license condition, MTN was required to sell 35% of its shares to Ghanaians by June 2018. Government is therefore very happy to see this requirement being fulfilled as part of government's policy for local content participation in our telecom space. Launched today demonstrates that responsible multinational companies like MTN abide by local regulations and policy to ensure mutual benefits to the company and the citizens for whom such services are offered. This is also a demonstration of mutual collaboration and good corporate governance, and will further deepen MTN's commitment to the Ghanaian telecom market and our overall economy. The customer and the people for whom these services are offered are the ultimate winners. Government appreciates such complementary roles being played by the industry to ensure that the right infrastructure mix is available to propel our digitization agenda. I wish to further indicate that there are some spectrum blocks still available in the 800 megahertz band for sale. Now that telcos who are interested to enhance their operations and offerings to the Ghanaian people should take advantage of this. Mr. Chairman, it's refreshing and nostalgic for me to witness this proud moment of the launch. First in the industry, an especially important occasion because it certainly represents the first and probably the largest telecom sector IPO in Ghanaian history. This is indeed another proud and historic moment for MTN and for Ghana. It's the hope of government that this journey that we are commencing today will be fruitful to MTN, 35% public shareholders, and the government at large. It is our hope and expectation that this IPO will broaden and spread wider the participation and investment in the nation's telecom sector by Ghanaians. It will enable improvements in the growth in a sector increasingly pivotal to the realization of our nation's aspiration to once again be a prime regional and continental influencer. Mr. Chairman, the recognition by the mobile network operators like MTN that they are key stakeholders in national development is testified in their partnering with government and its agencies in the implementation of government policy in the form of the installation of a common monitoring platform for regulatory, fiscal, and financial oversight and the monitoring of the telecom sector. We do recognize your efforts to ensure compliance with the laws of the land in the best interest of the people and the government of Ghana, as well as the best interest of the mobile network operators themselves. In concluding, may I request you to support the regulator, the NCA, in the implementation of the common platform for traffic, revenue assurance, fraud management, and mobile money monitoring initiative, and may our collaboration continue to grow to impact positively the industry and the economy of Ghana, even as we build a Ghana beyond aid. We expect the full cooperation of all telcos in the implementation of the revenue assurance functions of the common monitoring platform as good corporate citizens. We will implement Act 864 to the latter and hope that the full cooperation of this common monitoring platform will demonstrate and indeed cement the existing good relationships between the regulator and the network operators. Congratulations once again, and we all look forward to this bright experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable George Nenyi Anda, Deputy Minister for Communications. And in case you just tuned in, this is a live event. We're here at the Marriott Hotel for MTN Ghana's IPO launch. If you're watching us on TV or listening to us on radio, send a message to somebody to tune in to join this historic moment. Before we take our musical interregnum and bring our special guest, we have a final speech. And this speech will be delivered by a man who, in many ways, epitomizes the stock exchange. He joined in 1990, And he's been there ever since, served in various capacities, including presiding officer on the trading floor, financial controller, head of listings, and general manager. He's been MD of the stock exchange since 2003. Mr. Kofi Yamwa will bring us greetings from the stock exchange. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you, Ben. Honorable Minister for Finance, thank you for being here. Honorable Deputy Ministers, Excellency, distinguished chairs, CEOs, and executives of various companies represented here. Thank you very much and good morning. I'm only bringing two aspects to this agenda. First, my appreciation, and two, my excitement. And my first appreciation goes to the NCA. It is because of NCA's condition that we are here witnessing this offer, after which they will be listing on the exchange. It's a condition NCA puts on MTN's 4G spectrum. It is in line with an advocacy the exchange has waged over several years, saying that for regulators that have the power to grant licenses to various sectors of the economy, the license should go with local content. And I mean local content to the extent of listing on the exchange. Fortunately, NCA has set the lead, and I expect and I implore the likes of Bank of Ghana, the Minerals Commission, the NIC to follow suit, so that in due course of time, many more of the giants of MTN will be on the exchange. And NCA went beyond just the condition. They facilitated a number of meetings. I remember very well one morning in August at Holiday Inn, there was what Mr. Asante described as focus or solution-focused discussions. I think the solution is here today, and I believe the NCA meeting was the beginning of that. Thank you very much, NCA, and we believe that the others will follow suit by your further conditions. Next will be the board of MTN Ghana, led by Dr. Ishmael Yamson. I remember very well that when the news broke that MTN was doing an offer but without a listing, the first person that came to my mind was Dr. Yamson. I knew him from Kingsway when he was a founding member of the Ghana Stock Exchange and also a well-known executive of Unilever. I needed audience with him. I knew him to be fiercely Ghanaian, and I believed that if I had a chance, he would buy into my principle. Thank you, Dr. Yamson, for listening to me, not only once, but twice during that period. And I must also thank the MTN Group, particularly the Director for Finance, who just spoke. I must thank him because when we met at Labadi Beach Hotel some time back, when the entire group was here for a meeting, he affirmed that in due course, MTN will actually list. Thank you very much for that assurance, which is realized today. Then I must thank my own chair, Mr. Albert Essien. In one conversation, he said, Kofi, I have a meeting with the group finance director. What message do I convey to him? I told Mr. Essien that if you can get MTN Ghana to list, that will be your legacy as the chairman of the Ghana Stock Exchange. So, Mr. Albert Essien, your legacy begins today. Thank you very much. And then, the Honorable Minister for Finance. I tried severally before his assumption of office to get this message across. I sent him an elaborate email followed with a text, and I booked an appointment to meet him. And he gave me the assurance that I've spoken to MTN. I believe they will list. Today, that belief has been fulfilled. Thank you, Honorable Kenneth Furata, very much for doing that. I'm excited as the MD of the exchange in 4 ways. First of all, the service sector is the biggest in our economy. And within that sector, the telecom and information technology is fast and growing. But unfortunately, that sector is not represented on the exchange. So to that extent, we would say that the exchange doesn't represent a true barometer of economic activity in this country. And if we have to represent it, then the better way to do it is to have the leader of that sector coming on stream, and that is MTN Ghana coming on board. So that is very exciting for us at the exchange, and we thank Mr. Asante and his team for making that possible. Secondly, this offer is special. Hitherto, the offers have been pick a form, fill it, go to a receiving agent, submit it, pay, and then in due course you become a shareholder. MTN is introducing 2 additional innovative channels of distribution. First, I know that you can apply online as far as this offer is concerned. So anybody in Ghana sitting anywhere using internet can do application by online approach. And that is very innovative, the first as far as the market is concerned. Thank you, MTN. And more importantly, they also deploy mobile money. That will help us achieve a large number of retail investors. And that is also very unique. So it means that every mobile money user can use this approach or this approach to apply under the offer. And that makes it much, much easier for us to reach everybody in this country. My third reason for being excited, and I dare say for the exchange as a whole, is that as far as the pension funds are concerned, and it's growing very rapidly, we need companies that are good for our pension funds to invest in. MTN presents a company that is, 1, very well run, 2, reasonably profitable, I dare say much more profitable than we envisage. It's very socially responsible, and in that regard, I believe that it's an opportunity for all pension funds, including and especially the second-tier private pension funds, to invest so that we can demonstrate a statement that the pension industry is ready to assist companies, raise money, grow, and develop this country. It's an opportunity for us to make sure that we get it right using the pension funds as far as this offer is concerned. And I believe all trustees will support the pension fund managers to do so under this offer. Finally, I know that MTN has more than 17 million phone subscribers. That, by my estimation, means that we there can say a target of 1 million retail investors should come to this market under this offer. We want to work towards that goal. And that in itself will bring so much liquidity to this market that we have always been accused of lacking. I believe that we stand ready to assist MTN achieve this liquidity target so that going forward, this market will really have come of age in terms of liquidity. Thank you very much, MTN. Certainly, the Ghana Stock Exchange stands to support you in your countrywide programs as far as this offer is concerned. And on my own note, I stand ready from tomorrow to buy heavily into MTN shares. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. You know a lot of people. You are very well connected. And you remember the dates of all the meetings. So you're a man we must meet. We want to bring you a spot of music. The Pan-African Youth Orchestra is the youth wing of the Pan-African Orchestra, established in 1995 in collaboration with the National Theatre of Ghana. They have a short piece for us. Please enjoy. That was the Pan-African Orchestra. Fantastic stuff. And those of you who don't know, the instruments include the xylophone, the flute, and some other very interesting Ghanaian instruments. And why are you looking at me like that? The xylophone, the flute, one looks like a calabash. You know, and I was really nostalgic because when I worked at Universe in the year 2000, this was the soundtrack for our news bulletin. So when you hear this, you have to go and read the news whether you are ready or not. So Pan-African Orchestra, thank you for doing this. Hope you can come back and do something equally nice. So it's time to hear from a man we have been all waiting for. And in spite of all the things said about him, he's a very simple man. He's our finance minister, and we're very proud of him. Please put your hands together for Ken Ofori-Atta. Ken Ofori-Atta.
Thank you very much. Good. Is it still morning, or have we moved on? Thank you, Madam Ambassador, Chairman, League, ministers, deputy ministers, and all of you distinguished people. I think we've heard enough speeches for today. So I would just really would like to thank MTN for making this courageous move, because I think when we started the conversations, it sounded a bit ridiculous or incredulous to them. They had not done it anywhere else and were worried about its potential effect. But I mean, I felt very strongly that we were in a new regime, and as Africans, we should be asking why and why and why. And by the fifth time, you have no answers, and you realize that, you know, the basis of your decision are not quite right. And then obviously, I mean, the joy in which you are talking about these fairs is indicative that everybody is going to be a winner today and the years that are ahead. So thanks again for the courage to do that. It's interesting for me because in, I guess, 1990, when we launched the Ghana Stock Exchange, there were only 11 or so companies. Maybe $10 million was the market capital. And in March of 91, I think we had the first listing of Super Paper or something, very tiny little company that happened. But it's also an interesting reminder of the days gone by, because once again, Chairman Yamson had something to do with it, in the sense that we had just then begun with DataBank, and Chairman Yamson invited us to do the merger analysis for Lever Brothers and UAC to form Unilever. And essentially, he was saying, you know, I know you guys can do this work instead of bringing a foreign advisor for this. However, you don't have a brokerage license, but I'll give you the chance to do this assignment. And that really catapulted, you know, DataBank into becoming sort of the investment banking advisory company in that. So, Chairman, thank you. And today, we stand here launching one of the largest IPOs, indigenous, and you are chair of that. It just shows your resilience and continued contribution to our country. And if we also sort of cast back a bit, in 1994, February, we traded at DataBank about $25 million of shares, about 11 or so of the shares, 8 of the 11 shares on the stock exchange. And that was about 52% of the exchange. So you can imagine that the stock exchange market cap was about $100 million. And today we are talking at what, 65 billion and change or so. We also, I think, acquired about 52% of Enterprise Insurance in 1998 for about $1.1 million. And you look at the values today. So needless to say that getting into the equity market is a great thing to do. And MTN certainly, in my view, will be one of those. For a number of reasons. One certainly is well managed, is efficient, and the proof is there for all of us to see. But one of the issues that the Managing Director of the Stock Exchange talked about is the issue of liquidity. And liquidity changes valuation. I really have no doubt that we'll have, if we really play this game well, we can trump the million to about 5 million shareholders. And it is possible because of the platform, and the price is not that high. I'm sure somebody can begin to fund people to do that. So I expect a real game changer and hope that the stock exchange is ready for that level and get the stadiums ready for the AGMs. Because it will be a very, Eben, I don't know whether you know what you've done, but managing an AGM in a stadium is going to be your lot. So we thank you for doing this. Now, I mean, we went to the bond market a couple weeks ago, and the Ghana turnaround story was very strong. So even as Argentina and Turkey and the Iran deal really made the emerging markets choppy, the turnaround story for Ghana was able to sort of ring fence against all of that choppiness. So that in the end, we ended up, looking for maybe 1.5 billion and ended up with $8 billion worth of investors. We ended up taking 2 billion of that. And that really begins to show what Mr. Grant is trying to illustrate, that, there's something new about the country, and it's really up to us to drive this on. So I'm really encouraged by this, and we worked with IC Securities for the bond issue, and I'd like to congratulate you for this one too. It's just wonderful to see the whole Ghanaian setup doing that. So thanks for that. The finance director talked about our president and his speech at Oxford, but I think what he really the vision for this issue of Ghana Beyond Aid or Africa Beyond Aid is how do you create a self-confident and prosperous society in which we are all participating, in ensuring that your fellow citizen has access like everybody else, and that we put poverty behind us. So we are trying to get this narrative for every Ghanaian to begin to feel different, to feel confident and strong about himself. And what the Minister of Finance is trying to define as how do you create a wise society, W-I-S-E, a wealthy, inclusive, sustainable, and an empowered people. And I think if we all internalize that, we really will see the black star that we're all looking for. So let's continue in this to, I guess, remain bright, your bright strategy, and truly believe that we are a unique continent and we can do it. By 2050, we're going to be a quarter of the world's population, $2.5 trillion, 1.3 billion people. You have to deal with Africa. But we have to position ourselves that we are the drivers of it. So let's even change this whole concept of local content into foreign content. We own our continent, and then we call somebody to join, not the other way. And I think we'll be that great continent that we all aspire for. So let me just say thank you to all of you. Government will keenly support you in what you do. Without technology, we can't make it. We were in Korea last week, and it was really clear that it's about the human capital that we have to build and technology to support that. So I think really your responsibility as a corporate citizen will be how do you apply this technology to make sure that we break, this poverty gap. I mean, we can use technology to ensure that the education matrix and the pedagogy changes so that everybody has that access and opportunity, and it can be done. We've already started speaking with people like the Khan Academy and Facebook, etc. I think we should join to really transform education. And once we transform our people, you know that the sky is the limit. So government thanks you. Government looks forward to working with you very closely to make significant changes in our economy and for the benefit of our people. And government cannot do it all. And that's why we need you. Recently also, I guess I just came back a couple days ago, and there's a whole lot of noise about some platform services that are going on. And I think people have also brought up the issue of data protection. But these are all things that, we can find cures to without getting very political, about them. And I think it's incumbent on the telcos to be able to provide, solutions if somebody is really worried about data protection, etc. Because we need to do that. Facebook is doing that. Everybody is beginning to find a solution too. But the issue of monitoring is important. This is not the first place that is going to be done. And we should, marshal ourselves as a people for a certain direction to make sure that the nation, moves ahead. So on this occasion, I have this great privilege to formally launch the IPO of MTN. I wish to congratulate all of you for opening the door of opportunity to Ghanaians to share in the risk and successes of this great company. I really wish you well and look forward to a very successful launch. Thank you very much.
So he's launched it, but we're not done with the launching. This is just part one of the launching. So that contraption to your right and to my left is actually neatly put together to contain something very beautiful. So we're going to respectfully ask Ken again, accompanied on the government side by Deputy Minister George Anda, and then Yofi, GIPC, and then the two regulators to go to one side of the beautiful contraption. And then we have from the MTN side, Eben, and Ralph, and Mr. Yamson to come to the other side. So please make your way up there. We're going to unveil something very important, and that would be the physical launch. So we've done the literal launch. We are now going to physically launch it. Yes. So my advice is that, Eben, you take one side of the rope, and then Ken, the minister, will take the other side. The rest of us will support them. And the advice is to pull the rope slowly and gently, because if you pull it too fast, it will not open.
Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to partake. Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to participate in the offer. Everywhere you go, our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to participate in the offer. Everywhere you go, MTN. Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to participate in the offer. Everywhere you go, MTN. Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks, or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to participate in the offer.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's number. There once was a time when the things we have achieved today were nothing but a distant dream. Who would have ever imagined seamless connection across the length and breadth?
For last, because now we need to understand what's going to happen. And we've been hearing of them, IC Securities. They are young Ghanaian guys, but please don't underestimate them. They are sharp. And we're privileged to have the MD, Kwabena Owusu-Boateng. He will bring us a speech. After that, as a journalist, I will grill him with a few questions on this. So please put your hands together for Kwabena Owusu-Boateng. He's a CU. Yes, he's a big man. Kwabena, please put your hands together for Kwabena.
Kwabena Owusu-Boateng.
Forgive me.
Phew. We have launched. It's been, I think it's been 3 years, 3 months, and about 15 days. For those of you who know investment banking, we sent in our pitch on Valentine's Day 2015. And you can imagine trying to convince your significant other that instead of going for dinner, you are doing some presentation work. But we thank God for today. We thank God for the journey, and we thank God for today. Honorable Minister of Finance, thank you for your presence. Deputy Ministers of Finance and Communications, heads of regulatory institutions, including the jovial bow-tie-wearing ones, Her Excellency, South African High Commissioner to Ghana, MTN board members, MTN group executives, executives of MTN Ghana, MTN staff, potential investors, even including the MD of the Ghana Stock Exchange, who has now committed to buying some shares. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, today is really an historic day in the development of Ghana's capital markets. The launch of the initial public offer of MTN Ghana, one of Ghana's best-known brands, is quite a remarkable event. We hope that this landmark transaction will serve as a catalyst for other listings on the Ghana Stock Exchange in the near term. I'm particularly thankful to MTN Group and to the board, management, and staff of MTN Ghana for their focus and determination and the hard work they have put in to make this transaction a reality. What I want to do here today is to give you some important information about the IPO. As Mr. Ebenezer Asante said earlier, the offer period opens today. It's just opened at 12:30, today the 29th of May, and it's open until 5 p.m. the 31st of July 2018. Once the offer period has ended, applications will be reviewed, collated, and allotment will commence. In the spirit of localization, the allotment period gives clear priority to Ghanaian institutional and individual investors. It is important that potential investors subscribe during the offer period, because once the offer period is ended, any applications will not be processed or even considered. Now, who is the offer open to? Natural persons who are 18 years and older who live in Ghana or in any place where the sale of MTN shares is lawful. But it's also open to corporates, associations, other institutions incorporated in Ghana or anywhere else where the sale of MTN shares is lawful. Now that the offer period has commenced, all those interested can acquire MTN Ghana shares through a number of channels. And we've spent quite a bit of time today talking about mobile money. We're particularly excited that the SEC has given us approval to use mobile money to subscribe for shares. It's quite simple. Just dial *170#. The MTN GH share offer prompt will come up and follow a very simple prompt to buy shares. This innovation, as Mr. Ebenezer Asante said earlier, is quite exciting because it's the first time ever anywhere in the world that this is being used, and it's open to individual applicants. corporate and individual applicants can also apply through other channels. You can go to the website, mtnGhanaShares.com. You can go to regional offices of MTN Ghana, and you can also use the traditional channels that we all know and love through IPOs. So you can go to any of the receiving banks, there are 15 of them, or any licensed stockbroker or licensed dealing member of the Ghana Stock Exchange. Now, the great thing about applying through mobile money is that you don't even have to fill an application form. It's really quite simple. If you choose to do it another way, then you can apply online and fill the application form online, or you can fill a physical application form either at the offices of the receiving banks or any of the receiving agents, as shown in the prospectus. Now, when you get chosen to speak last at an event like this, you get concerned that everything you're going to say will have been said by somebody else. But thankfully, nobody has mentioned the price of the offer. And I think people have prospectuses, so they've probably seen it now. The price of the offer is 75 Ghana pesos, chosen so that we can broaden the distribution of this offer and allow as many Ghanaians as possible to participate in this transaction. The minimum amount is 10 MTN Ghana shares, which means that if you want to subscribe, the minimum you would have to pay is 7 Ghana cedis and 50 pesos. And we feel at that level, we can encourage and invite Ghanaians all across the country, from Wa to Ho to Takoradi, everywhere to subscribe in this transaction. Payment for shares may be made by cash, debit, card, or check, but we encourage you to use mobile money. And in the case of oversubscription, again, as I was saying earlier, we will give priority to Ghanaian investors. Now, Seth Asante is in the room, and if I don't give you some terms and conditions, he will crucify me. So I'll like to take this opportunity to say to you that all of the terms and conditions of this offer are in the prospectus. I think a few people have some copies. This prospectus can be obtained at the website, mtnghanashares.com. You can get it at the regional offices of MTN. You can get it at the branches of any of the 15 receiving banks, and I think 4 of them are even outside. So after this program, you can go outside and they'll have prospectuses for you, and you can even start the sign-up process. You can also get it at the offices of any of the licensed dealing members of the Ghana Stock Exchange. I think there are 21 of them at the last count. But even more slickly, you can dial *533# and you'll get a link to download the prospectus. So really, you can do all of this through your phone. We encourage investors to read the prospectus carefully and rely exclusively on the information that is in it. Investors should seek expert advice. Come to IC Securities if you want expert advice. Come to any of the other licensed dealing members of the Ghana Stock Exchange before you decide to buy the shares. Now, once again, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to MTN Group and Ghana. We're humbled, we're honored for the opportunity to act as the lead manager, sponsoring broker, financial advisor on a transaction such as this. We haven't done this alone. We've worked with South Capital, we've worked with Sentinel Global, we've worked with Benti Enchil, Lecha and Ankoma, we've worked with KPMG, and we have appreciated the collaborative effort that we've put together to make this transaction a success. I'll be remiss without mentioning the good people of MTN Ghana and the staff who have gone through a lot of effort to make this transaction successful as we are today. We've talked a lot about the regulators. So the NCA, the SEC, the Ghana Stock Exchange, we couldn't have done this without you. We are trying to break new ground, we're trying to innovate, and without you, we would not have been able to do that, so we thank you. Now, to the receiving banks and receiving agents, the licensed dealing members, there's quite a lot of work ahead. We cherish what we have built with you so far, but we look forward to making sure that we work with you and collaborate with you to make this transaction a success. Now, if you forget everything I've said, then just remember 2 things. 1, go to mtnghanashares.com. You'll get all the information you need on this. Or even more simply, just dial *533#. Again, you'll get as much information as you want. So please, all the channels are now open since it's past 12:30. Read the prospectus carefully. Go forth and buy the shares. Thank you very much.
Not so fast, not so fast, not so fast. So, Kwabena, please take this mic. So, Kwabena, say.
Amen.
Please give me a mic. Great. So, we just need to ask you a couple of quick questions, right? So, why this IPO, and more importantly, what is different? How different is this from the others, like the Talos and the ones we've mentioned in the past?
Sure, Bernard. Thank you for that question. I think there are 2 principal reasons for the IPO. and both of them have been elaborated on in the various speeches we've heard today. The first is obviously to satisfy the 4G LTE requirements of MTN. But the second, and I believe, at least as a Ghanaian, I would say the more important, is to encourage and to invite Ghanaians into the shareholding of MTN. I think it is important to be able to say as a company that the environment in which you work and you deliver your success and manage your risks has more and more stakeholders. And this transaction allows Ghanaians to do that.
Somebody said we are hoping to get 1 million. Finance Minister is saying 5 million. How do you intend to get the message to the whole country? Because that means you're looking at people in even the minutest, tiniest village.
The sample space for the transaction is 17 million. So we'll go after all of them. Now, there are a few things. The first is the fact that we have set the offer price at a level that we feel will be affordable by most Ghanaians. So at 75 pesos per share, but 7 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos as a minimum amount, we feel most people should be able to acquire it. The second is that between ourselves, between MTN Ghana and other stakeholders, there is a lot being done in marketing to ensure that this is being heard, seen, and is available to everyone across the country. So for example, we're having this event today here. There will be similar events in all the regional capitals of the country over the next 2 weeks. There's a lot going on social media. I believe you told us earlier that we're being beamed out live on radio and TV. You will see billboards, you will see flyers. There is a lot going on to ensure that Ghanaians really can do this. Now, the final thing I should mention, and we've talked about it earlier, is allowing people to use mobile money to buy the shares. We did some testing earlier, and the take-up is incredible. And we're hoping that that continues as we launch the offer today.
So I guess my final question would be, so what will this mean for MTN as a group, as a company, and more importantly for the Ghanaian economy?
I think it means a lot. And perhaps we talk about the Ghanaian economy first. We had the Honorable Minister and some of the other speakers talk about the development of the capital markets and what it means for economic development. At roughly 10 billion Ghana cedis of market cap, this will represent about 13% of the market cap of the Ghana Stock Exchange, and that's significant. That means visibility for the stock exchange. If we get 5 million subscribers, that means improvement in liquidity. That means returns, higher returns on the stock exchange, and that's good for development of Ghana. For MTN itself, it gives it the opportunity to, I think the word used was localize and democratize. So it has more and more locals as members of its shareholding. So now we can use Accra Sports Stadium for our next AGM. It allows it to raise capital for the business from Ghanaians. And from a group perspective, it really signifies its belief and confidence in Ghana. And I think those are some of the benefits that this transaction brings.
Thank you very much, Kwabena Osei. Please put your hands together for Kwabena one more time. And if we missed anything, we have a short video to make sure you don't get confused. It's less than 2 minutes.
Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com, or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks, or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to participate in the offer.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
3 quick announcements. All journalists, please wait behind in this room for your press briefing. Those of you who want to buy shares now, we've set out some booths outside. Make sure you're there to talk to them. And the rest of us, we have drinks and food. Thank you for being here. On behalf of the organizers, have a great day and see you at the next meeting at the Accra Sports Stadium as part of the 5 million. My name is Bernard Avle. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Our doors are open for Ghanaians to own shares in Ghana's #1 network. The MTN Ghana share offer is open from 29th May to 31st July 2018. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at 75 Ghana pesos per share. Shares must be purchased in multiples of 10 with a minimum purchase of 7 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Dial *170# and select option 7 to buy through MTN Momo, or buy online at mtnghanashares.com, or visit selected MTN Ghana branches, IC Securities Ghana Limited, any of our selected banks, or any licensed stockbroker of the Ghana Stock Exchange to buy your MTN Ghana shares or to pick up a copy of the printed prospectus. You can also dial *533# or visit mtnghanashares.com to access the prospectus. Please read the offer prospectus and seek appropriate expert advice before deciding to participate in the offer.
Everywhere you go, MTN.